Welcome in, everybody. Today we're diving deep into Eastern Orthodoxy, specifically in Bulgaria.
It's a fascinating subject, I think, especially when you consider the sources we have lined up for this deep dive.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So we're going to be looking at a Christmas address by the current Patriarch, Daniil. And then we've got some speeches by the late Patriarch Neophyte and President Radev. And to add a more personal touch, we're also going to be looking at the writings and artwork of Peter Rundev. He's a Bulgarian iconographer.
It's going to be really intriguing to kind of consider the weight of all these voices together, particularly with Rundev's seminary experience woven into the narrative. It offers like a really unique lens, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Through which to understand this, the connection between faith and national identity in Bulgaria, especially as we're kind of approaching the 120th anniversary of the Sofia Theological Seminary.
Right. And speaking of somber and serious tones, our listener did request that we approach this material with that kind of sensibility in mind.
Yeah, that's right.
So Patriarch Daniil's Christmas address feels like a good place to begin. It seems to lay out the core tenets of Eastern Orthodoxy, at least as they resonate in Bulgaria. So what struck you about his message?
Well, his words definitely carry a weight, I think, fitting for the season. He focuses on the Holy Trinity and this promise of salvation. But what's particularly striking, I think, is how he kind of weaves in this message of peace amidst, a world that feels increasingly fractured.
Yeah.
It's a reminder, I think, of the solace faith can offer, especially, during times of uncertainty.
He does seem to emphasize finding peace and goodwill in a world that's often marked by conflict and fear. It's as if he's calling for a return to the core values of the faith, which is particularly relevant given the recent passing of Patriarch Neophyte.
Yeah, indeed, Patriarch Neophyte's legacy is really deeply intertwined with this idea of faith as a source of strength. He often spoke about the necessity of faith to bear a heavy cross. It's a really potent image, I think, that speaks to enduring hardship with grace and resilience.
Yeah, it's a very evocative image. It makes me think of his words on the Holy Trinity as a source of strength and refuge, particularly his reference to Saint Patriarch Euthymius. Entrusting the Bulgarian people to the Holy Trinity during the Ottoman conquest, it speaks to a long history of finding solace and guidance in faith.
Absolutely. And, that historical connection brings us to President Radev's perspective. He refers to the Bulgarian Orthodox Church as the institutional embodiment of Eastern Orthodox Christianity in Bulgaria, really emphasizing its historical importance and the role it's played in preserving the nation's unity.
Yeah, his speech definitely highlighted the strong link between the church and the Bulgarian nation. I mean, it wasn't just a statement of faith, it was a declaration of the church's integral role in shaping the country's identity.
Yes, and that sense of national unity is echoed in Patriarch Daniil's address as well, particularly his statement that the church cannot be divided within a single territory. It's a clear assertion, I think, of the church's role in fostering this shared sense of belonging.
Yeah, for sure. And he also discusses the sorrowful division within the Bulgarian Orthodox Church. It makes you wonder how that schism, with its complexities and political entanglements, impacted this idea of a unified church.
It's a poignant reminder that even within a shared faith, differences can emerge, particularly when you have external forces kind of intersecting with matters of doctrine and authority.
Yeah, absolutely. Perhaps the story of Peter Rundev, the Bulgarian iconographer, can offer a more personal perspective on navigating these complexities. His work seems to bridge tradition and modernity in a very unique way, and his connection to the Sofia Theological Seminary adds another layer to our exploration.
Yeah, Rundev's journey is particularly fascinating, given his artistic approach. He combines traditional iconography with these modern elements. It almost suggests an attempt to make these ancient forms speak to a more contemporary audience. It's a very delicate balance. And, his time at the Sofia Theological Seminary seems to have really deeply informed his perspective.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned Rundev's time at the Sofia Theological Seminary, and it seems like that experience had a profound impact on him.
It did.
Particularly this dream that he describes. That confirmed the seminary's divine purpose.
Right. His writings about that dream, you can tell he has this deep reverence for the seminary. It suggests that he doesn't view it just as an institution, but as a place of spiritual formation,
Yeah, definitely.
Which is a perspective shared by many who have passed through its halls, I think.
And it's not just the Sofia Seminary that holds this significance for him. He speaks very highly of the Plovdiv Seminary as well, believing both institutions are vital to Bulgarian culture and identity.
Yeah, his perspective underscores the importance of theological education in shaping the future of the church, I think. It's about nurturing this community of believers, ensuring the continuity of the Orthodox teachings and traditions. particularly in a rapidly changing world.
Right, and speaking of teachings, we have some excerpts from Rundev's seminary writings. That kind of shed light on his understanding of Eastern Orthodoxy. His reflection on the parable of the sower, for instance, is quite insightful.
Yeah, the parable of the sower is such a timeless allegory about the reception and nurturing of faith, and Rundev's analysis really emphasizes this personal responsibility that we all have in cultivating our own spiritual growth. It's a theme that resonates throughout a lot of his work, I think.
It does, and his handwritten rendition of Psalm 3 and Psalm 142, dated and timed so meticulously, adds such a personal touch to his theological explorations. It's as if we're getting a glimpse into his personal dialogue with faith.
I think those handwritten psalms offer this window into his spiritual journey, his search for meaning and solace amidst the challenges of seminary life. They speak to this human need for connection with something larger than ourselves, I think, a yearning that's often expressed through faith.
Right, and that kind of brings us back to the Sofia Theological Seminary and its 120th anniversary celebration, which was captured in that YouTube video you mentioned. Rundev's personal experience seems to echo the broader historical narrative of the seminary itself.
Absolutely. The video paints this vivid picture of the seminary's resilience,
Yeah.
its ability to persevere through immense historical upheavals. I mean, from wars and political turmoil to the suppression of religious institutions under communist rule. This seminary has endured a lot.
It's almost unimaginable the seminary being repurposed as a pioneer palace during the communist era. And yet, even through those years of exile in Gara Cherepish, the dedication to education and faith never wavered.
It's incredible their commitment to their mission speaks volumes about the strength of their convictions. I mean, despite facing such immense pressure, they adapted. They continued to educate and prepare future generations of clergy. I think their story speaks to the power of faith to endure, even in the darkest of times.
It really is remarkable. The seminary's resilience during those difficult years is certainly striking. It makes me think about the schism that Patriarch Daniil mentioned. How did that internal division, particularly its political ramifications, impact the seminary and its students?
Well, I mean, it must have been a tremendously difficult period to navigate. Imagine navigating theological education while the very foundations of your church are being challenged, even manipulated by these outside forces. And the seminary's decision to stand by Patriarch Maxim, despite the government's support for this breakaway group, really speaks to their commitment to this unified church.
Yeah, it's a stark reminder of how these external pressures can exacerbate these internal divisions, especially when those pressures were coming from a government that's seeking to control religious expression. So how did the seminary manage to uphold its mission during such a tumultuous time?
Well, they found strength in their commitment to education, maintaining this high standard of theological instruction, while also fostering this rich cultural life for their students. They would hold concerts, screen films, even host lectures from these prominent figures in the arts and sciences. It's as if they were seeking to create this haven of intellectual and spiritual exploration amidst the chaos.
It's really a testament to their belief in the power of education, not just as a means of preserving tradition, but as a way to equip these future generations to navigate these complexities of a changing world. And ultimately, the schism was healed, wasn't it?
Yes. Patriarch Maxim was eventually recognized as the legitimate head of the Bulgarian Orthodox Church, and the seminary was able to fully reclaim its place in Sofia after these decades of exile. But those years undoubtedly left their mark.
Yeah, it makes you wonder about the lasting impact of those divisions, even after this formal reconciliation. How do you think those events shaped the seminary's approach to education and its relationship with the broader church?
Well, it likely fostered a deeper appreciation for unity, like a recognition of the fragility of institutions and this need for constant dialogue and understanding. And, the seminary's journey really reflects a larger truth about faith itself, I think. It's not this static concept, it's this ongoing dialogue, this evolving understanding of our place in the world.
Right, and it seems like Rundev's personal journey, his artistic expressions of faith, and his deep reverence for theological education all resonate with this idea of an evolving dialogue within the Bulgarian Orthodox Church.
Absolutely. His story woven into the tapestry of the seminary's history and these pronouncements from patriarchs and presidents really paints this rich and complex picture of faith in Bulgaria. It reminds us that even within these seemingly monolithic institutions, there exists this vibrant spectrum of individual experiences and interpretation.
And as we conclude our deep dive into Eastern Orthodoxy in Bulgaria, perhaps that's the most crucial insight to carry forward. We've explored the core tenets of the faith, delved into its political and historical complexities, and encountered this unique personal perspective through Rundev's journey. But beyond the specifics, there lies this universal truth about the human search for meaning, for connection, for something that transcends our individual lives. And so we encourage you to continue exploring these questions, to delve deeper into the nuances of faith and identity, and to consider how these themes resonate in your own life and the world around you.
Welcome in, everyone. Ready to dive into the Bulgarian Orthodox Church and the Sofia Theological Seminary.
Absolutely. Should be a fascinating journey.
We've got quite the mix of sources here: speeches, historical documents, an FAQ, even a film script about the seminary's journey.
A real treasure trove.
It is. And through all of these, we'll uncover how faith, education, and national identity have all been intertwined throughout Bulgarian history.
The resilience of these institutions is really striking. Centuries of political shifts, external pressures, even internal disagreements, and yet they've persevered.
Okay, let's jump right in with a powerful quote from Patriarch Neophyte about the Holy Trinity. He says, "My hope is the Father, my refuge is the Son, and my shelter is the Holy Spirit."
Beautiful imagery.
It is. And he connects this to a pivotal moment in Bulgarian history, the fall of Tarnovo under Ottoman rule.
Right, he's drawing a parallel to Saint Patriarch Euthymius, who, in the face of his people's despair, entrusted them to the Holy Trinity.
It really emphasizes that role of the Church as a constant source of strength during national crisis.
Exactly. It's a theme that echoes throughout history. In Patriarch Daniil's Christmas message for 2024, he speaks about a world grappling with conflict and anxieties.
What stands out to you about his message?
It's a reminder that faith in Christ is a beacon of hope, a message that has resonated with Bulgarians for centuries, especially considering their history.
And this brings us to the Church's connection with Bulgarian national identity. We see this clearly in President Radev's statements.
He really emphasizes the Church's historical contributions.
He does. What do you think he means when he calls the Church a spiritual pillar of Bulgarian society?
He's acknowledging the Church's enduring influence. Even after periods of what Patriarch Daniil calls atheistic governance, the Bulgarian Orthodox Church has remained a force for unity.
So we've got the Church deeply rooted in Bulgarian history and identity. But where does the Sofia Theological Seminary fit into all of this?
This is where we delve into the seminary's evolution. We need to go back to its origins. Imagine those early spiritual schools established by Saints Clement, Naum, and Constantine of Preslav.
They were laying the foundation for the seminary's rich legacy. And all of this under Ottoman rule, which lasted for 5 centuries.
Exactly. It's crucial to understand that context. Despite the suppression they faced, these early scholars were translating texts, educating future missionaries, keeping the flame of faith and learning alive.
It's remarkable how they managed to preserve their traditions and identity. So how did this lead to the formal establishment of the Sofia Theological Seminary in the late 19th century?
Well, key figures like Ilarion Makariopolski and Metropolitan Aksentii of Velez recognized the need for a dedicated Bulgarian spiritual school. They envisioned a place where Bulgarians could nurture homegrown theological talent.
So the seminary was born out of this vision, but it sounds like its journey was anything but smooth.
Oh, you're absolutely right. The 20th century was a turbulent time for the seminary. World War I breaks out, and suddenly their building is requisitioned for a military hospital. Students are scattered, many even serving in the army.
What an abrupt disruption. How did the seminary cope with this upheaval?
They adapted. They found ways to continue their education despite the challenging circumstances. It's truly inspiring to see their dedication to learning amidst such chaos.
It speaks volumes about their resilience, but their challenges didn't end there, right? Things got even more complicated after the war.
Unfortunately, yes. In 1920, the government under Aleksander Stamboliyski actually seized the seminary buildings, disregarding the church's property rights.
How did the church respond to this blatant disregard for their ownership?
The Holy Synod vehemently protested. They argued that it was a grave injustice, but their pleas fell on deaf ears, and the seminary was once again forced out of its home.
This seems like a recurring theme of displacement for the seminary. And then, to make matters worse, we have the rise of communism in Bulgaria. This must have been a dark chapter for the seminary.
It was. Imagine this 1950 arrives, and under communist rule, not only are their buildings confiscated again, this time given to a youth organization, but they are forcibly relocated.
Relocated to where?
They were sent to the remote village of Cherepish in the Iskar Gorge, a far cry from the intellectual hub of Sofia.
Can you paint a picture of what this exile meant for the seminary?
Well, their vibrant intellectual community was forced into a secluded village for 40 years. The film script really paints a vivid picture of their struggle with inadequate facilities and constant scrutiny from the atheistic regime.
It's hard to fathom how they persevered for 4 decades under such conditions. What was their experience like in Cherepish?
It was a testament to their resilience and dedication. Despite facing limited resources and political pressure, figures like Bishop Takon and Bishop Gerasim emerged as leaders maintaining the seminary's academic standards and fostering a sense of hope amidst the adversity.
It's amazing how they not only survived, but thrived in such a challenging environment.
It truly speaks to the strength of their faith and the importance they placed on education. It was more than just a place of learning, it was a spiritual anchor for the community.
This story of exile and resilience seems central to understanding the seminary's character. But did the seminary ever return to Sofia?
They did, and it's a moment of triumph. With the fall of communism in 1990, the Bulgarian Orthodox Church's long-held wish was finally granted. Seminary returned to its rightful place in Sofia, a symbol of the Church's resurgence and the revival of their educational legacy.
That must have been an incredible moment to reclaim their home after 40 years of exile. But it sounds like their challenges weren't over just yet.
You're right. Imagine returning to buildings in dire condition, needing extensive repairs. And as if that wasn't enough in the 1990s, a schism within the Bulgarian Orthodox Church arose, with the government backing a breakaway synod.
So even after returning to Sofia, the seminary faced new obstacles, both internal and external.
They did, and throughout this period they remained unwavering in their support for Patriarch Maxim, the recognized leader of the Bulgarian Orthodox Church. This loyalty demonstrates their commitment to unity amidst internal conflict.
It's fascinating how, despite all these setbacks, they've consistently bounced back, never losing sight of their mission.
It is. And this brings us to the present day with the seminary under the leadership of Bishop Pachomius. He's overseen a period of revitalization, renovating buildings, modernizing classrooms, and restoring their library.
So they're not just clinging to the past, they're evolving and adapting to the 21st century. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about Peter Rundev, the iconographer and former seminary student. What's captivating is that he creates icons in a 16.9 widescreen format.
It's unexpected, isn't it? He blends traditional artistry with a modern aesthetic. And his personal journey is intertwined with the Sofia Theological Seminary. He talks about finding his faith there, even having a dream that solidified its divine purpose for him.
It's powerful how his individual story connects back to the seminary's larger narrative.
It is, and his interpretation of the parable of the sower is particularly insightful. He emphasizes personal responsibility in nurturing faith, likening the human heart to the soil that receives God's word. He views the seminary as playing a crucial role in cultivating receptive hearts.
It's a beautiful analogy. His experience shows how individuals can find their spiritual path within the context of an institution like the Sofia Theological Seminary.
Exactly. And Rundev's Psalms, which he wrote during his seminary studies, offer a glimpse into his personal devotion and spiritual formation.
It's fascinating how these individual experiences connect to the broader narrative of the Bulgarian Orthodox Church and the seminary's journey. It reinforces that these institutions are not merely buildings or traditions. They are living entities shaped by the individuals who inhabit them.
That's a crucial point. It's the people who breathe life into these institutions, driving their evolution and ensuring their continued relevance.
It makes you wonder what other personal stories are woven into the fabric of these institutions.
Indeed. And it begs the question, what role can individuals play in shaping the future of the church and the seminary?
These are definitely things to ponder as we continue to unpack the complexities of the Bulgarian Orthodox Church and the Sofia Theological Seminary.
You know, as we're talking about the seminary's journey, I'm struck by how often the sources mention the importance of its location.
Yeah, it is fascinating. It's like their physical location reflects the seminary's journey through time.
Right? We see this shift from that prime spot in Sofia, donated by the city itself, to the forced relocation to Cherepish, and finally their triumphant return to the capital.
It's a powerful visual, isn't it? It really represents that journey.
And the film script really emphasizes the symbolism of these locations. The original location, Sofia, is described as being on one of the peaks of Kurubaglar, offering this incredible panoramic view.
Wow, almost like it was meant to be a beacon.
Exactly, visible to everyone.
Yeah.
But then being forced into that remote village, it's like being stripped of their visibility, their voice silenced in a way.
It wasn't just symbolic either, was it?
No, not at all. The film script describes Cherepish as a place of seclusion with limited resources and inadequate facilities. This relocation seems like a deliberate attempt to suppress the seminary's influence, to isolate it from the intellectual and cultural vibrancy of Sofia.
Such a stark contrast to those early descriptions of the Sofia Seminary. They had electricity, a telephone, even a state-of-the-art projection apparatus for the time. It seems like they were embracing modernity, pushing the boundaries of what a theological education could be.
They were. And then in Cherepish, they're forced to adapt to make do with significantly less. It really highlights their resilience and ability to thrive even when stripped of resources.
The film script even mentions how the teachers in Cherepish had to work even harder knowing their students would be compared to those in secular schools.
They had something to prove.
Exactly.
They did. And they rose to the challenge. The seminary maintained those high academic standards, producing graduates who were not only well-versed in theology, but also in literature, history, and the arts.
A real testament to the dedication of their teachers.
Absolutely, and their commitment to a holistic education.
Speaking of education, can we delve deeper into the seminary's curriculum? The sources give us some intriguing glimpses into how it has evolved over time.
Yes. We see a clear shift from the initial emphasis on traditional subjects like scripture and dogma to a more expansive approach that incorporates elements of philosophy, history, and even music and the arts.
It seems like they recognize that in order for their students to engage effectively with the world, they needed a broader understanding that went beyond just religious doctrine.
Exactly. And this is where those cultural enrichment programs mentioned in the film script become so interesting. They organize concerts, film screenings, even visits from renowned actors and musicians.
Wow, creating a vibrant intellectual and cultural hub within the seminary itself.
They were. And it wasn't just about entertainment. It was about exposing their students to different forms of expression, different ways of thinking about the world. It was about fostering curiosity and broadening their horizons.
Definitely challenges the stereotype of a rigid and isolated religious education.
It does, and it speaks to their forward-thinking approach. They weren't afraid to embrace new ideas, to challenge conventional thinking, and to prepare their students for a world that was constantly evolving.
So we see this institution dedicated to education and spiritual growth, but also deeply affected by political events, both within the church and in Bulgaria. How have these external forces shaped the seminary's trajectory?
We can't truly understand the seminary's journey without acknowledging the impact of the political landscape. The sources highlight two major periods of upheaval that really test the seminary's strength: the communist era and the schism within the Bulgarian Orthodox Church in the 1990s.
Let's start with the communist era, which was a time of intense pressure on religious institutions, wasn't it?
Absolutely. The communist regime, with its emphasis on atheism and materialism, saw religion as a direct threat, an obstacle to their vision of progress. They systematically sought to undermine the church's authority, limit its influence, and control its activities.
And it seems like the seminary was caught in the crosshairs of this ideological battle.
It was a prime target. The communists recognized the influence the seminary had in shaping future generations of clergy. They saw it as a breeding ground for dissent, a potential source of resistance to their ideology.
So they tried to control it, to silence its voice.
Precisely. The confiscation of their buildings, the forced relocation to Cherepish, the restrictions on their curriculum, it was all part of a deliberate strategy to weaken the seminary and, by extension, the Bulgarian Orthodox Church.
A stark reminder of how fragile intellectual and religious freedom can be.
It is.
And how easily it can be crushed under an oppressive regime. It's a testament to the seminary's resilience that they were able to withstand this pressure, maintain their core values, and emerge from this period with their spirit unbroken.
It really is quite a feat.
And then just as they were starting to rebuild from the trauma of the communist era, they faced the schism within the church itself.
Right. It seems like one challenge after another.
It was undoubtedly a difficult period. The schism, with its competing claims to authority and legitimacy, created deep divisions within the Bulgarian Orthodox community. It put the seminary in a precarious position.
They were essentially forced to choose sides.
They were. And they chose to remain loyal to Patriarch Maxim, the recognized leader of the Bulgarian Orthodox Church. This decision, while principled, wasn't without consequences.
I can imagine.
I imagine it caused tension and strained relationships within the seminary community.
It did, but it also solidified their identity, their commitment to unity within the church. It was a clear statement that their loyalty lay with the canonical authority of the church, and that they wouldn't be swayed by political pressure.
It's a powerful example of staying true to one's principles, even in the face of adversity.
Absolutely. It speaks volumes about the seminary's moral compass and their unwavering dedication to the integrity of the Bulgarian Orthodox Church.
We've explored the seminary's journey through these turbulent political times. But what about the individuals who have shaped its path? The sources mention a diverse cast of characters, from rectors and teachers to political figures and even an architect.
It's a fascinating mix of personalities, each playing a role in this unfolding story. We have the visionaries like Ilarion Makariopolski and Metropolitan Aksentai of Veles, who saw the need for a Bulgarian spiritual school and dedicated themselves to making it a reality.
Right. And then there are figures like Bishop Tikhon and Bishop Gerasim, who guided the seminary through its exile in Cherepish, providing not just leadership, but also a sense of hope and continuity during a very difficult time.
They were the unsung heroes who kept the flame burning even when the odds were stacked against them. And of course, we can't forget the political figures who played both constructive and destructive roles in the seminary story.
We have individuals like President Radev, who acknowledges the church's importance in shaping Bulgarian identity, and then there's Aleksander Stamboliyski, who seizes their buildings and disregards their rights.
It highlights how intertwined the seminary's fate has always been with the political realities of Bulgaria. And then there's Friedrich Grünanger, the architect who designed the seminary building in Sofia.
Oh, yes. His vision created a space that was not only functional, but also aesthetically stunning.
The film script describes it as magnificent with modern amenities, which is a far cry from the conditions they faced in Cherepish.
It reflects the aspirations they had for the seminary. They wanted to create a space that was worthy of its mission, a place that fostered intellectual and spiritual growth.
And it's interesting how the physical structure of the building itself plays a role in this narrative.
It does. It reminds us that architecture is more than just bricks and mortar. It's about creating spaces that embody our values, our aspirations, and our vision for the future.
It really is.
So we have this interplay of individuals, institutions, and historical forces shaping the seminary's journey. But what does it all mean? What are the key takeaways you've gleaned from this deep dive into the Bulgarian Orthodox Church and the Sofia Theological Seminary?
One of the most prominent themes that emerges is resilience. Through Ottoman rule, through wars, through political upheaval, and even internal divisions, the church and the seminary have endured and emerged stronger.
Truly a testament to the power of faith, isn't it? Even in the face of immense challenges, their belief system has provided a source of strength and continuity.
Absolutely. And it's not just about blind faith. It's about actively engaging with the world, adapting to changing circumstances, and finding ways to maintain their core values while also evolving with the times.
Their approach to the seminary's curriculum is a great example of this. They weren't afraid to incorporate new ideas, new ways of thinking. They knew they needed to equip their students for the complexities of the modern world.
Yes, and that leads us to another key takeaway, the importance of education. The seminary has always been more than just a place to learn dogma. It's about nurturing intellectual curiosity, critical thinking, and a deep appreciation for knowledge.
And it goes beyond individual growth, too, doesn't it?
It does. It's about equipping individuals to contribute to the larger community, to society as a whole.
So we have resilience, we have the transformative power of education, but there's also this constant tension between tradition and modernity. How does that play out in this story?
It's a fascinating dynamic. The church and the seminary are deeply rooted in tradition, drawing on centuries of history and accumulated wisdom. But they're also not afraid to embrace change, to adapt their approach, and to grapple with contemporary issues.
Like the seminary's move to Sofia in the late 19th century.
Exactly. They could have remained in Samokov, but they understood the need to be in the capital, to be at the heart of Bulgarian intellectual life.
That willingness to adapt, to evolve with the times, is a key part of their enduring legacy.
It is.
But it's not about simply abandoning tradition, is it? It's about finding a balance, a way to honor the past while also looking ahead to the future.
It's about making tradition relevant to the present, drawing on its wisdom, while also recognizing the need for change. And it's not always an easy process. There will be tension, disagreements, moments of uncertainty.
Like we saw with the schism in the 1990s.
Exactly. The schism in the 1990s really highlights the complexities of this balancing act. But even in those moments of division, there's a sense that the church and the seminary are committed to finding a way forward, a way to navigate the complexities of the modern world without compromising their core values.
And it all comes back to the individuals who make up these institutions, doesn't it? It's their personal stories, their experiences, their struggles and triumphs that breathe life into this deep dive.
Absolutely. We have individuals like Peter Rundev, who finds his faith at the seminary and goes on to create art that blends tradition with modernity. We have Bishop Pachomius, who leads the seminary into the 21st century, overseeing its renovation and modernization.
A great reminder that these institutions are more than just abstract entities. They are made up of people, each with their own unique journey and contribution to the larger narrative.
And it's through their stories that we can truly understand the enduring legacy of the Bulgarian Orthodox Church and the Sofia Theological Seminary. It's a legacy of faith, of resilience, of intellectual curiosity, and a deep commitment to shaping a better future.
Such a powerful message, and one that resonates far beyond the borders of Bulgaria.
It does. It's a message about the enduring power of belief, the importance of education, and the potential for individuals to make a positive impact on the world, regardless of the obstacles they face.
So as we wrap up this part of our exploration, what are your thoughts? What stands out to you as we consider the resilience and adaptability of the Bulgarian Orthodox Church and Sofia Theological Seminary?
As we delve deeper into this story, I keep thinking back to that contrast between the seminary's time in Cherepish and the grandeur of their building in Sofia.
It's a powerful visual, isn't it? That shift from this beautiful, purpose-built structure to a period where they had to make do with limited resources.
They went from having modern amenities to adapting their entire way of life.
It really speaks volumes about their ability to adapt and overcome.
It does. The film script highlights how they adjusted their teaching methods, their cultural programs, even their daily routines. They were stripped of so much, yet they never lost sight of their core identity, their commitment to education.
It's a real testament to the resilience of the human spirit. You know, they didn't let their circumstances define them.
Exactly, and I think there's a valuable lesson there for all of us. No matter what challenges we face, we have that inner strength to find meaning, to create beauty, and to nurture our spirits.
Speaking of beauty, let's talk about the role of art and aesthetics in this story. We've discussed Peter Rundev's iconography, the architectural vision of the seminary building, even the music and theater performances mentioned in the film script.
It's a great reminder that spirituality isn't just about intellectual concepts and rituals.
Right.
It's about experiencing beauty. It's about connecting with something larger than ourselves through artistic expression.
And it's interesting how those artistic expressions can take on different forms. We have Rundev's modern take on iconography alongside traditional chants and hymns that have been passed down for centuries.
It creates this beautiful tapestry woven from threads of both tradition and innovation. And it speaks to the dynamic nature of faith. It's not static or frozen in time. It's constantly evolving, finding new ways to express itself.
That's a key takeaway for me from this deep dive. The Bulgarian Orthodox Church and the Sofia Theological Seminary are not relics of the past.
No, they aren't.
They are living institutions actively engaging with the world and finding ways to make their traditions relevant in the present.
I agree. It's their spirit of adaptation and willingness to embrace change that makes me hopeful for their future. They've faced extraordinary challenges, but they've always found a way to persevere.
And it's not just about survival, is it? It's about thriving and contributing to the cultural and spiritual landscape of Bulgaria.
And beyond, the lessons we can draw from their journey have universal relevance. It's a story about the power of faith, the importance of education, and the resilience of the human spirit in overcoming adversity.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Bulgarian Orthodox Church and the Sofia Theological Seminary, what are some of the key insights that will stay with you?
One of the most important things I've learned is that profound connection between faith education and national identity in Bulgaria. The church and the seminary have played such a vital role in shaping Bulgarian culture and providing a sense of continuity and belonging for the people.
That's a really insightful observation. It reminds us that spirituality isn't just a personal matter, it's interwoven with our social and cultural identities.
Exactly. I'm also struck by the resilience of these institutions. They've weathered so many storms and emerged stronger each time.
It's a testament to the power of belief that even in the face of adversity, faith can be a source of strength and hope.
Absolutely. And it's not just about blind faith. It's about actively engaging with the world, finding ways to make tradition relevant to the present, and adapting to change without losing sight of your core values.
And for you listening, we hope this deep dive has left you with a sense of wonder and a desire to learn more. The story of the Bulgarian Orthodox Church and the Sofia Theological Seminary is a rich tapestry woven from faith resilience and the enduring power of the human spirit.
It's a story that continues to unfold, and we encourage you to explore further. Ask questions, delve deeper, and discover the fascinating world of the Bulgarian Orthodox Church and the Sofia Theological Seminary for yourself.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking knowledge.
And may your own journey be filled with purpose and meaning.